All right, this is just a list of the foods that I feed my shrimp. I get asked this a lot, and I kind of go through a rotation of food that I use, and I'll just tell you which ones I like the most at the end. First and foremost, I use ShrimpFit. I use that maybe once a week. It's a powdered food. I use it if I see a lot of babies in a tank. It's kind of like to me, it's a better version of Bacter AE. It doesn't pollute the water as quickly as Bacter AE, and the shrimp go crazy. It's good for baby shrimp, and it also promote biofilm. But this is one of the things I like the most. I use this in the Opoela tank, and I use it whenever there's baby shrimp in the tank. And obviously we have Bacter AE. I generally don't use this. I bought a few of these a couple of years ago, and I tried it, and I think the product is just way too hard to understand how to dose it. I think it's too much trial and error involved, and it's a high risk of polluting your tank and killing all your fish or shrimp rather. So I generally don't use this anymore. So this package is not even opened. I don't even use it. Secondly, I have Snowflake, and I get this brand. There's a lot of Snowflake out there. This is called Snow Pop. I like these better. They break down easier, and the shrimp devour them, but I don't feed it that often because it's not really that healthy. So maybe once a week, maybe twice a week, in between their true meals, I'll pop in some of this in the tanks. I'll save those for last. Baby shrimp is awesome. Again, you have to carefully dose it. I substitute that. I get with the ShrimpFit. I generally do powder food no more than twice a week, sometimes just once. But one week I'll do the ShrimpFit, and the week that I'm not doing the ShrimpFit, I'll do baby shrimp. Again, baby shrimp is a powdered food. It's really good if you have baby shrimp in the tank, because it just goes everywhere. Again, you have to dose based on the size of your tank and based on how many shrimp you have in the tank. And with any type of food, you don't want to overfeed your tank, especially when it comes to these Caradina tanks. You have to be very careful. But I do this once a week, at most twice a week. Now we get into like the hardier food. I do have the Shrimp King protein. I put this in a Neo-Caradina tank, and they go crazy over it. But this is like maybe twice a month I will put this in, but I generally don't do it that often. If I feel that they're lacking in protein or something, then I'll go with like the Shrimp King Complete. That kind of has everything in it, but if I feel like I need to add some more protein, then I'll just do a combination of the two. But I don't really use these that much. My go-to is shrimp dinner. Shrimp dinner. The shrimp go nuts over this. It's unlike the Complete. The shrimp dinner does not break down in the water. There's positives and negatives for Complete. Complete breaks down, so you have to put it in a glass bowl, because if you leave it on the substrate, it'll go into the substrate, and then when you're gonna get like detritus worms and planaria and all that. So the Complete, I definitely suggest putting this in a glass bowl. The shrimp dinner, you can just put on the substrate because it doesn't break down. The shrimp will go and they munch on it. They'll eat it, but it doesn't fall up, it doesn't crumble. That's positive and negative again. The negative to that, it doesn't spread through the tank. So if you have baby shrimp and shrimp way on the other side, they're not gonna get to it. So you have to put probably two in a bigger tank. But the good thing is, say you're starting, you have very little of this left. You get a lot in here. You can start it in one tank. When I feed any of these foods, I set the timer for an hour and 30 minutes. And then you could just take it out of that tank and just put it in another tank and keep going and going and going if you have several tanks, if you want to conserve on the food. I don't do that. I just throw it out. There's plenty in there to go around. But I put it in, set the timer for an hour and 30 minutes. Most of the shrimps never consume this, but they stay on it and munch away. Like the fancy red tigers, those shrimp, they just devour the food. They can almost finish one of these, but this is a very good food, high quality food. I would say that's number 2, but number 1 is the Vim shrimp food by Blizzard. It's hard to, I try to get these on eBay. I try to get them wherever I can, but they're sometimes hard to get. But this is like the best quality shrimp food that you can get. I feed this again once a week on a Saturday. Generally, while I'm doing the neocaridina water changes, I'll pop one of these in the tank. Again, set the timer for an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. And this is kind of like the shrimp dinner. It doesn't break down. These are the two best. It doesn't like disintegrate into powder. So the shrimp will get to it. They can finish the blizzard, like especially like right now, I have so many shadow pandas. The shadow pandas and the fancy red tigers can consume all of this. But if you have a smaller tank with less shrimp, they probably won't, but just take it out after like an hour and a half. But very good quality food. These are my number two. If I ever want to have my shrimp come up to the glass, or if I want to see everything that I have, I just drop one of these in and they just all just come right to it and just start devouring it. Obviously, there's other things out there, a lot more things out there. Mulberry leaves are good too. But you know, I live upstate New York. Can't really grow that. And I don't like buying leaves off the internet. My brother actually has a mulberry tree in his house. But right now we're almost at winter, fall, the leaves are all dead. I don't like buying that stuff offline because you don't know what people put. If they use pesticide, things like that, you can boil, you can do all this. But unless I grow it myself, I don't trust buying leaves from anyone else. But yeah, that's what I feed my shrimp. I rotate. Main thing is you have to feed sparingly. Don't go crazy. They're not like cats and dogs. You know, the more you feed your shrimp, you overfeed them, that's a recipe for disaster. So do everything with caution, sparingly. Less is more when it comes to shrimp. Less is more when it comes to food. They're not going to starve, but you do want to keep a healthy colony by feeding them, but never overfeed your shrimp.